I'm sure you all recognise the gentleman joining me to my left, the former IBF champion of the world, Glenn McCRORY. Glenn, can you just tell us your involvement in BKB?
I'm the presenter for tonight's show. I'm thrilled to be here. I've worked on a few of the BKB shows in the past. Always enjoyed it. It's loads of fun, great action. You know, these fighters have worked long and hard to get where they are, and glad to be a part of it.
You're obviously a former world champion. You've worked in the boxing media for a very long time. What do you think are the main differences between bare knuckle boxing and glove boxing, apart from the lack of gloves?
Do you know what? I mean, this is probably the oldest sport that's ever existed, and this is where boxing comes from. This is part of our history, our heritage. This is what it's all about. It's a very different game because you've got to be very, very smart in this game. It's not just about going in there. You just think it's going to be going in there, one bang wallop, and have a row. But you've got to be very technical. You've got to think about what you're doing. It's all about the old adage, hit and not be hit, and that comes from the bare knuckle game, and that's what it's really about. It's very much the art of self-defense. You have to have a very good defense. You can't afford to take punches in the boxing where you can do a Floyd Mayweather. You can tuck up and you can catch them on the arms, because you're getting punched on the arms. It's going to hurt you when you've got bare knuckles, when you've only got the bandage protection. So it's very, very different, very, very difficult, and these guys, you know, they're doing a great job.
I think when the sort of modern era of bare knuckle boxing started, the standards were, you know, those guys perhaps weren't in the best of conditions. But have you noticed over the last couple of years, the last couple of shows, there's a lot of ex-glove boxers involved, a lot of UFC fighters, and these guys, they are athletes.
Do you know, I think it's probably the most exciting of all the combat sports, just simply because it's the original. It's the original, and it's bare knuckle. It is hard. It is tough. You can't afford to get hit, and I think the fighters are seeing the attraction, and a lot of boxers. You know, we've got some good fighters, some good guys from the amateur code, and some good guys from the professional code on here tonight, and really happy to be here.
So, when you watch these bare knuckle boxing shows, do you ever get a temptation that you would have liked to have a go? How do you think Glenn McCRORY in his prime, the IBF world champion, would have done in the bare knuckle boxing?
Do you know what? I like a fight as good as the next man. No, hey, listen, I've fighting's in my blood. Fighting, you know, I'm from a long family of fighters. My Irish heritage, you know, boxers all the way back. So, no, you know, any fighter. We love a challenge, and obviously I'm a bit long in the tooth now for this sort of thing. But you know, it's the sort of thing I would have loved to have had a go at.
Are there a certain style of glove boxers which would be particularly suited to come across to BKB?
Do you know what? I think it's one of those sports where, you know, you got a Mike Tyson type fighter comes into BKB, he's going to wreak havoc. You know, I'm sure Mike would have absolutely loved this as well. He would have loved this sport. So you're going to get that. But also, you know, good boxers, silky smooth boxers will do well as well, because they can keep out of the way. Good footwork, you know, and finding the right opportunity to make your attacks, because you've got to be precise. You've got to, when you get in, you've got to get in quick and get out, or you're going to get damaged.
You mentioned Mike Tyson there. I think I'm right in saying that you actually sparred Mike a number of years ago.
I did. Mike in his heyday.
How painful do you think Mike Tyson would have been hitting somebody with a? I suppose it would just be one punch and it would have been out to Tyson.
I think Mike Tyson would have, you know, he would have fitted in this game amazingly. I mean, and he'd have loved it as well. But you know, Mike Tyson could hit you 3 times before you knew it. So in this game, you know, he'd be a revelation. So if there's any budding Mike Tysons out there, you need to get a look at BKB.
I mentioned Mike Tyson there, just bringing us up to today's heavyweight situation. I mean, what's your take on the Joshua, Fury, Wilder situation where this seems difficult to match the 3 of them?
Well, you know, I mean, first of all, I've got to say what a fantastic time to be in boxing. What a great state the game is, and it's always noted on its heavyweights as where it is in the world. You know, you have great eras as you had with Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, George Foreman. You know, and then when you had Lennox and Evander and Tyson. So boxing's marked on its heavyweights and marked on its era. We're in a great era now with three fabulous fighters. Not one of them yet have tasted defeat. So it's all to fight for, I'm looking forward to the rest of this year, to what comes up. My suspicion is Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King, will come out on top of it all. He put in a fantastic performance last time, was unlucky not to get that decision, but you know, proved what a man he is by getting him off the floor after a terrific knockdown from Deontay Wilder. So the game's great, and I can't wait to see those fights.
And of course, your old weight division, the cruiserweight division, that's pretty exciting as well at the moment.
Well, it's pretty tied up in it with Mr. Usyk, who's there's some good fighters. There's some good fighters in that division, but he's pretty much cleaned up the division. And we'll look to him. We look at him to now move up to the heavyweight division and see what he can do with the big boys. With his movement, his footwork, and his precise punching, he's going to make a mark in the heavyweight division as well.
Okay, Glenn, thanks for your time.
Thanks very much.
The BKB 15 is available tonight to purchase on pay-per-view. The details and how to order will be after this interview.